When Christopher Columbus arrived in the New World back in the 15th century, he discovered the hammock. It was in the West Indies that Columbus found natives lounging in what he later described as sleeping nets. And when hammocks were introduced to the Europeans, the net effect was great. Hammocks were once called hammocks because they were woven with fibres from the hammock tree. Today they're made of braided polyester, a change people accepted, well, lying down. To make a hammock, spots for holes to be drilled are marked in a hardwood spreader bar. The 22 holes are spaced 7 centimetres apart. The edges of the wood are rounded with a router, smoothing out any sharp edges that could jab you when you climb into the hammock. Holes are drilled 1 centimetre in size in the spreader bar. They're then countersunk to make a gentler slope for the polyester rope. The company's pre-pasted label is stuck to the bar. And next, 16 bobbins turn at a speed that could make you dizzy just watching. They're spinning the polyester cord. The bobbins twist the 16 polyester strands, braiding the strands into a herringbone pattern while electrical pulleys draw them up. The pulleys drop the cord in a drum. Now a weaver deftly intertwines the thick cord into a triangular shape. She's making the hammock's harness. It's called a clew. She tugs each row tightly to a ring at the top to ensure that the weave is steadfast. As she weaves, she drapes the long pieces of cord over a wood frame to keep them from tangling. After the triangle is formed, she checks for errors in the weave. Now, the clew cords are threaded through the holes in the spreader bar. A cord is snared with a large crochet hook. Using the hook, a cord is threaded through the hole at the furthest end of the spreader bar and then knotted. And the same is done at the other end of the bar. While the bar hangs by the 2 cords, the rest of the clew cords are pulled through all 22 holes in the bar. Next, the spreader bar is positioned under a guide bar to ensure everything's level. And the rest of the cords are tightly knotted onto the underside of the spreader bar. It's a critical step. If there's any slack in the clew, the yarn will stretch and the hammock will be misshapen. Using a 3-metre length of cord, each link is pulled through the previous one to create a chain of small links. The top of the chain rope hangs from a hook, stabilising it and allowing the weaver to quickly turn the simple cord into an intricate-looking chain. Now each end of the chain is hooked onto pins on a loom. Another cord is weaved into the chain and threaded through with a crochet hook. One loop is made every 6th link in the chain rope. And that cord is hooked onto the same pin as the chain. There's no rest for the hammock weaver. She takes a shuttle, which is a piece of wood with 200 metres of cord wrapped around it. She pulls it from below, up through the available loops, and then back down, expertly weaving the web that is the hammock bed. She hooks a second chain rope on the loom and threads the edge of the woven bed to this chain. Now, the spreader bar of a finished harness is placed on one end of the loom. The pins of the loom are lined up with the holes of the bar. The cord is knotted on each pin to a cord from the spreader bar. The process is repeated at the other end of the loom, binding the second harness to the hammock bed. One last knot is made in the chain. And the excess cord is removed with a heat gun. The heat gun makes a clean cut with no ragged edges to unravel. After all, you're the one who's supposed to unwind as the hammock cradles you in its hypnotic sway.
slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up